lobby desk to the noise coming from the front door. Madam Chairperson, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, as a receptionist, I've been used to buzzing in people, but this character looked a little suspicious. Covered in purple fur and feathers, wearing a Girl Scout cap and a sash. Grumbling seemed to be coming from his direction that got increasingly louder and more frequent the longer he stood there. I buzzed him in and he immediately went for the Girl Scout display cookie boxes on the counter. Before I had a chance to say, "May I help you?" he took the Thin Mint cookies and started wolfing them down, 5 cookies at a time, all the while saying, "Me love minty goodness." I said, "Excuse me, you're going to have to pay for those." He just looked at me ravenously like I was a large do-si-do cookie myself. And then he went on to the second box. This time it was the tagalongs. This box he tore open with his mouth, tilted his head back and started pouring them down like Cracker Jacks. Barely stopping to chew, he gulped them down. When he was finished, he looked up at me and said, "More tagalong?" I explained to him that that was the last box of that kind. He held up 3 fingers and said, "Be prepared." This box he put on the counter and started smashing them with his big paws until they were a fine powder. He poured the cookie dust over the counter and produced a large straw from the folds of his purple fur and feathers and started sucking it down like it was an industrial strength vacuum cleaner. The 4th and final box was the raw raisin cookie. These he put in his mouth and sort of swished them around and sucked out the raisins and started spinning them at me like a rapid-fire machine gun. He was cracking like the Karate Kid. Hey! 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 When he had finished the 4th box, the next thing he did filled me with amazement. I can only describe it as a cookie-induced sugar high. He started doing aerial cartwheels and flips all around the room, the force of which knocked all of that remnant on him that he had spilled during eating all of these cookies across the walls. It was a chocolatey, peanutty mess. And then he slumped into a chair and fell asleep. And he started snoring. What sounded like my name. Bonnie. It got louder. Bonnie. Bonnie. It was so loud, it was shaking me and everything around me. And then finally, Bonnie! One snorted, loud and short, snort. And my supervisor was standing over me. "Your phone has been ringing off the wall for 20 minutes, she said. And what happened to all the cookies?" Ready to unfold this sordid story to her, I looked over at the chair where the creature had collapsed only moments earlier, but he was gone. Miffed at my silence, she said, "You owe $16 for those cookies." And Bonnie, the next time you're hungry, remember, sweets are a snack, not a meal. Had I dreamt the whole thing? Was I the cookie pilferer? Suddenly my supervisor was there again, this time wearing the same costume as the creature, only without the head. She handed me 2 empty cookie boxes and said, "Put these on your feet and tap them 3 times and say, 'There's no place for cookies like Keebler's.' There's no place for cookies like Keebler's. There's no place for cookies like Keebler's." I woke up in my own bed, my hand stuck in an empty cookie box. Crumbs on my face and sheet. Here's the moral of my story, and it's as practical as it can be. Never eat cookies in bed, unless you're an elf in a hollow tree.